You can see the structure in here. I don't know if you can hear it with that big truck in the background, but listen. Real crunchy, high pitch. We know we've created a very porous space in there. It's just carbon left. Smaller pieces. Lactic acid bacteria, labs, fermented fruit juice, FFJ, fermented plant juice, FPJ, some more FPJ, different variety, and some apple cider vinegar. Okay, now I've added all those minerals and nutrients. We've mixed them up a few times, let it set, making sure the char is not hydrophobic, it accepts water. Now we're going to add the Korean natural farming amendments, and we're going to add the foods. The fungal food being the fish hydrolysate, and the bacterial food being the molasses. I put all those together in some water, and I'll dump that in now. Make a tea while that's soaking. A couple good handfuls of fresh worm castings. Now some thermophilic compost, my oldest. Some that's right here in the middle. Some that's just starting. Diversity of microbes. All right, we've added the nutrients. It's soaking. Now we'll make the tea. So now for the tea, I've got the compost suspended in there. 3 types of thermophilic and the worm castings. We'll add the fish hydrolysate to feed the fungal members. We'll add the backstrap molasses to feed the bacteria. We'll use this bubbler to add oxygen. I suggest not using air stones. This is just a homemade PVC, actually PEX piping with a T in the bottom. So I can have the air coming up, the hose never touching the water. And some 16th inch holes going around the bottom. And they'll add air and circulate this water for us. Here we go. Now I'm going to leave that. I can just do it for a couple hours if I want, overnight, up to 36 hours or so. If I was going to go that long, I'd want to look under a microscope. I want to make sure I haven't gone past that prime point. If so, it gets really, really bad really quick. But we'll leave that going and have a look. Alright, the compost tea is ready. I've drained off the nutrient soak. As I add the compost tea, I'm also going to add equal parts red wiggler castings to thermophilic compost. And we're going to layer it coming up in here and put the compost tea over top of it. Let that set. Drain it again and leave those castings right mixed in. Alright, we layered the biochar And the castings up in layers and lifts in here. Now I'm going to take this compost tea that I brewed. I'll probably show a little sample of that under the microscope. Let it absorb into everything here. Soak it in this. Let it absorb. And then I'm going to let it drain overnight. I'll dump this out on the garden bed so all those nice nutrients aren't lost. But this will be the final inoculation. First we inoculated it with minerals and nutrients. And now we have a tremendous amount of microbes in these 4 different types of compost that we're going in, along with all those KNF extracts that we put in here. Just gonna make it. Okay, I'm gonna let that saturate for a few hours, mix it up a little bit. Make sure none of that biochar is hydrophobic in any way. You see the air releasing. What I don't want to do now is leave this as set. Even overnight would be too long, but definitely for days, because we go anaerobic, and we've been inviting those anaerobes in, those low oxygen environment microbes, and we don't want those. A few ciliates are okay, but that's not what we're looking for. We want the beneficial bacteria, the beneficial fungi, the testate amoebas, varicella amoebas, nematodes, the microarthropods, the flagellates. Oh, that's just gorgeous. Good stuff. All right, I've dumped the mush into here. This kiddie pool has some holes in the bottom. It's going to let that water drain out of it. And we'll have a look in the morning. All right, change is better than a holiday. It's supposed to set overnight and drain out. There's some small holes in the bottom. Instead, we got a whole bunch of rain, and I woke up this morning and it was filled up to the top with water, just barely overflowing. That's all right. It's putting fresh water in there, oxygenated water, so that's not going to be a problem. Then the ducks started swimming around in it, and so I'm sure they were pooping in it, helping that inoculation. I am going to take a sample. It's all wet. I'm letting it drain out now. I'm going to take a sample of it. We'll go look at it under the microscope. Triple check that everything's the way we want. And let it dry out, and we'll have the finished product. We'll look at that now. All right, here's what we're going to have when we're done. So there's our finished product. That much there would be a little over a gram. A gram, because of the porousness of it, how many little micropores are in there, is going to have the surface area equal to a tennis court. So what that does is all that's area for those microscopic microbes to colonize. And they're feeding on those nutrients we put in there and cycling those nutrients for us. So the biochar is able to hang on to those different charges, those different nutrients, and release them when needed, and also house those microbes, making that nutrient available. So, biochar for the win. Doing it from our prunings, shortening that cycle, that waste stream, getting rid of it, turning waste into surplus. Change can be better than a holiday. Long overdue. Peace.